Good morning, Cambridge Intermediate School students. Mr. Peterson checking in and getting us going with the morning starters for the week of December. It's Monday, December 14th, 2020. And we've got a few days left of the calendar year 2020. I know many of us would just assume 2020 is over with, but you know what? We got to make the most of our days. I think that's 17 days left in December, and we don't want to wish our days away. So let's make the best of them, and let's start with today. And let's start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we are going to continue on, and our format is pretty much the same. So we'll start out by a couple jokes. And so as you can see, what did the mouse say to the other mouse when he tried to take his cheese? So you have two mice coming together. One has a chunk of cheese. The other one wants to take it. So what did the mouse say to the mouse when he tried to take it? And he said, nacho cheese, nacho cheese. So like nacho, but it's like not your cheese. Kind of a little bit of a slang there. And I think some of you have already heard this one because I think I might have heard this in the hallway back in the day. So, but again, hopefully you smiled a little bit because it's kind of a good one, I think. It's kind of funny. And then the second one is kind of school related. So think of our lunchroom. But why was the cafeteria clock always behind? Why was the cafeteria or lunchroom clock always behind? I'm going to read it so I don't mess it up. Because it was back. Because it went back for seconds. Because it went back for seconds. So like seconds on the clock, but then seconds like another helping of food. Again, kind of, I hope I got you to smile at least and maybe laugh out loud. Who knows? So last week we did this date in history. It was Pearl Harbor, and we have another significant date in history, and it has to do with our very first president, and that was George Washington. So on this date in 1799 at about 10 p.m., according to the information, George Washington died in his home in Mount Vernon. He was 67 years old, which I think in those days probably was an older age, and nowadays it's relatively young. So again, George Washington, kind of our founding father, given that title too, but our very first president of our country. So 1799, George Washington died on December 14th. So mental math. So I want to say too, I did have the chance to pop into a few live meets this week. I need to get into third grade a little bit more. I did not get to most of those students, but I did see fourth and fifth grade for the most part. I did a little informal survey and found out that about half or a little bit more liked the mental math portions and some did not. So I kind of balanced it out and it took one away. So we're going to do two. But before I begin this, I do want to say that I want to thank the teachers and our students that were able to show up because they were really fun to be part of. And I didn't stay very long, but I could tell that our students were energized by that. So if you're out there and you're hearing this message and you did not attend the live meets, you're going to want to really make that effort on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And again, it depends on what grade you're in. But check it out. Email your teacher, contact your teacher. They'll be able to tell you exactly the time if you're not sure. But again, if you didn't make it, please work hard to get there. And if you did, I know you're going to come back for more because it was really pretty exciting. And it's fun to see your smiles and such, but I got to do a better job to get to third grade. But anyways, getting back to mental math, we're going to do a couple, and I did write them down so I would not mess up a little bit. So we're going to do one that's relatively on the easier side and one that's maybe a little more harder. And again, just take a shot at it, take a chance. And this is all in your head. You're not writing the stuff down. Just kind of get the cobwebs off our brains and get our brains moving. So we're going to start with 100. So think of 100 and you're going to divide that by 2 or cut it in half. And then you're going to minus 15 from that new number. And then you're going to add 8. So you're starting with 100. You're dividing it by 2, breaking it in half. You're going to minus 15. And then you're going to add 8. On the count of 3, give me your answer. 1, 2, 3. And did you have 43? I had 43. So hopefully ours matched up. And hopefully you tried it, right? That's all you do. If you got it wrong, got it wrong. We're going to go on to the second one. Now, the second one, you have to know some things. Just like last time, I think I talked about decades. So you had to know that 10 was the number of years in a decade. So similar for this, all of these for this one. So we're going to start with the number of months in a year. So that's your number you're starting with in your head, number of months in a calendar year. And then you're going to add the number of hours in a day. These are all adding. So you're going to add the number of hours in a day. Then you're going to add the number of U.S. states. And we're not doing District of Columbia, and we're not doing Puerto Rico. So the number of U.S. states, you're going to add that. And then finally, you're going to add the number of inches in a yard. So think of a yardstick. So again, we're starting with the number of months in a year. We're going to add the number of hours in a day. We're going to add the number of states in the United States, and we're going to add the number of inches in a yard. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Did you get 122? So I started with number of months, that's 12. Add the number of hours in the day, that's 24. So now you add those together, you get 36. And then you have to add the number of states, that's 50. So now that's 86. And then this was probably the more challenging one because number of inches is 36. And now you have to add 86 and 36. I break that down. I take 6 and 6 and get 12 and kind of put it off to the side. And then I take 80 and 30 and I get 110. And then in my mind, I bring those two together. So I probably do it differently if I had it on paper. But when I'm doing it in my head, I try to make it a little bit easier numbers to work with. So 122 is what I got for that. So hopefully I had a little fun with that, took a shot at it. And if you didn't like doing that, then you did one less. So that's pretty good too. All right, so I'm adding this part. So this is our trivia question. I stole this or borrowed this from Mr. Zebarth. He's doing this in Isanti. He did a different question, but so here's our trivia question for the day. For this week, name the largest ocean on Earth, and then a couple bonus questions or points. How many oceans are there on Earth? And then name the oceans. And then I'm going to ask you, if you want to take part in this and you want to earn a couple tickets for responsibility, our blue PBIS tickets, you're going to email your answer to me, speterson@c-ischools.org, and the address is right there. So correct answers sent by noon on Tuesday, so December 15th, will receive a blue ticket for your answer. And if you add the bonus questions, you might get a couple more blue tickets. And if your answer is not right, you still get the blue ticket because you took a shot at it. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Mr. Zebar said, I think he had about 140 some kids respond to his trivia question. I'm hoping we can beat that or at least get to that number. So take a shot at that. I think you can probably Google it now. There's all kinds of ways to search these things out, and maybe you already know the answer. But there you go. Trivia question, first ever. So. And with that, again, this is a great week. We have 5 days this week. We have 2 days next week, so a total of 7 days. And then we have a little bit of a winter break in front of us. And so a little time off where you don't have to pop in and think too much about school. So 7 days, we can do this. And I know that, again, the live meets. So you've got the mini lessons that your teachers are doing. You have the bundle walks to kind of explain what's happening that day. You've got the morning starters that are going on like this, and I know that Mrs. Bogey did one, Mrs. Sutherland, Mrs. Hensley, Mrs. Russell, Mr. Crowley. So all the kind of the who's who of Cambridge Intermediate School are putting together a morning starter, and then of course those live meets, which were just amazing last week. So a lot of opportunities to connect and keep working hard on those bundles and get those turned in as soon as you can. So, and again, I look forward to seeing as many people want to answer that trivia question. So I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week, and go Big Blue.